India win the World Cup. Jay Shah lifts the trophy with Captain Rohit Sharma and your player of the match. It might have taken more than 10 minutes to deliver this time, but here he is promising you a good time.
Now delivering in 10 minutes.
Hadrik bowls the last ball. It limps to Arshdeep Singh at deep mid-wicket for one. The game is over. India win the World Cup. Hadrik falls to his knees on the pitch. Rohit collapses on his back. There's tears in Virat's eyes. And you see the weight of a nation, Pezza. The relief in their bodies. These guys don't just play for themselves. They're playing for their national identity. They're playing for the nation's ambitions, politically, socially, economically. They're playing for the hundreds upon millions of people that they represent as their looking glass to the rest of the world. These 11 cricketers are the Indian nation. No other athletes in world sport carry this weight. Tonight, and for eternity, Pezza, they are heroes etched in gold. A nation desperate for success in every sense of the word, starved for more than a decade. Tonight, drinks from the golden chalice of World Cup champions. Pezza, tonight there'll be parties in Punjab, chaos in Chennai, mania in Mumbai, dancing in Delhi, hysteria in Hyderabad, all-night benders in Bengaluru, and rim jobs in Rajasthan. India win the World Cup. They've done it.
The long wait is over.
Yeah.
The long wait is over. The light at the end of the tunnel, Higgins, has been reached. India is there. They made it. They are finally a world champion team. They've finally lifted that ICC trophy that has eluded them for so long.
Yeah.
And secured off the back of performances from a current legend in Kohli, a future legend in Bumrah, the world's most versatile cricketer in Akshar Patel with the bat, and probably 2024's most maligned cricketer, Hardik Pandya.
Yeah.
Some other contributions in there as well, no doubt. I thought South Africa were courageous. I thought that Hadrik Klaasen was so close to one of world cricket's most historic knocks.
Yeah.
But in the end, India's collective class told. And I want to talk about that a little bit later and why that means something. India are deserved winners of this World Cup. There must be an equal sense of relief and elation. And Chucky, I think we've got this. They're dancing on the streets.
Street dancing.
I don't know what this bloke is doing his rig at, but he looks amazing. And we're just popping fireworks off that salad. Look at that! When Cummins won, 3 people greeted him at the airport.
That's me when my order from Big Basket Now gets there in 10 minutes or less.
Hey, there's a lot to say. We're obviously grateful for such a great World Cup and all the videos we've been doing, all support we've been getting from people. Look, while I'm on a roll, he goes, it has to be said.
A deal must be struck here,
A deal
Pezza.
must be struck. We're here to strike a deal.
Yeah.
Okay? Before we get into this video.
Yeah, come on.
That a lot of people have said they've been waiting for. Now, look, last year, we don't need to say the date, right? There's a new date that's been consecrated.
A new date.
Okay, June 29, okay? Definitely to remember that. But there was a date last year where we lost 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, at least. Now,
come on.
Now that we've had a great result,
hey, come on.
Can those subscribers re-emerge? Can we surpass the 5,000 we lost on this video alone?
Fair's fair.
We're looking at a milestone ourselves, 300K.
Yeah.
How much delight and joy is there in India right now?
Yeah, let us know.
There's one way of showing it.
One way of
There's
showing
many ways
it.
of showing it.
Come on.
It's one of many.
It's only fair.
Subscribe if you like it.
It's only fair.
Because this is a big old jelking you're about to get, and a deserved jelking.
We've gone from Lost Australia to whatever is next. I don't really know.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Come on. Get us to 300,000 subscribers. That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get into it. Kohli's last stand. You know what? We should have a look at the batting card here from India. Let's have a look at the scores. So there's the match summary there. 176 played, 169. Pezza, how many runs did they win by?
Indeed.
Tell her for a reason.
Indeed.
7 runs. Tell her for a reason. He's always there.
Of course.
He's always there. You know what? It was a great game. It was a great game of cricket, which is the most important thing for me as a neutral. But let's have a look at the Indian batting innings if we can, please. Charlie. because it was Virat Kohli who dropped anchor there, 76 off 59. He delivered in the big moments, as he always does.
Win toss bat, blueprint for India, runs on the board, bowlers do the job.
That's right. 47 off 31 for Akshar Patel. That was important. Dubé contributed nicely before Hadrik got one away. What a win give.
You'll be getting a few away tonight.
To get the score to 176 for 7. So let's talk about that. So I think Akshar Patel turned the innings around after India got away to, well, a nice start to be fair, 15 off the first over. Then Rohit was caught sweeping Maharaj at square leg. Nice catch there from Hadrik Klaasen. Then Rishabh got out in a way that probably only Rishabh can get out by sweeping a full toss, caught behind.
He just gets in a tangle, doesn't he?
Yeah. And then when Klaasen took a nice catch again, Klaasen took a nice catch at fine leg.
Oh, was it?
Fine leg.
Does, you're right, yeah.
Off Sky, off the bowling of Rabada. That made it 34 for 3. Yes. All three of those dismissals as well have been guys that have done the most damage with the bat for India in the tournament. Rishabh, Rohit and Sky. I think that's fair to say they contributed the most for India's win so far. But then Kohli and Akshar put on 72 in 9 overs to take the score from 34 for 3 to 106 for 4 when de Kock brilliantly ran out Akshar Patel at the non-strikers end. But with perhaps a lazy bit of running from Akshar.
Careless.
But Kohli, he delivers in the big moments. And can we just have a look at the beard vectors? Can we have a look at the beard vectors from all angles here?
The first thing.
All angles. And that's Kohli's celebration after the last ball. But look at the angles and the tightness to the skin, the beard vector. Even from all angles, he's got everything covered here, King Kohli. And that's the most important thing from this.
Can I say, I was probably expecting a little more symmetry.
A little more symmetry, so slightly heavy to the right.
But it's still evocative. There's still a viscerality to it. And look at the sharpness at both ends there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like the bell curve of his career, actually. But he comes through tonight. I mean,
it's South Africa's run rate.
Guys, he's had a dreadful tournament until now. You can't say this about almost any player where you have a tournament like that and you can completely understand and see that he can be player of the match in the final. And it was classic Kohli. Very few shots in the air until the end when he gets ahead of the runner ball rate that he's going at. Proper cricket shots. I think it's a seminal knock. India's game plan throughout the entire World Cup was to put runs on the board for somebody to, not so much drop anchor, but somebody to basically play the beginnings to give the bowlers something to bowl at. Now, it's different bowlers today who get the job done for India. Well, there's one constant. But Kohli's the guy who does it today, and he does it when his team needs it most. And all you have to operate with here are cliches, glib cliches, but it's cometh the hour, cometh my face. It is champions rising when the moment needs it, and Kohli does it here. Pleased for him, and also pleased because a lot of people said TGC put a curse on him by meeting him. Anyone who touches us seems to struggle after that. But
well, it's funny because before that moment, he'd actually never won the T20 World Cup. And then afterwards, I'm sorry, but have TJC just won India the World Cup.
Yeah.
Now, don't tell the Aussie boys that because they probably won't talk to us anymore. But 6 4s, 2 6s. He ended up striking at 128, 76 or 59 for Kohli. Obviously, an enormous contribution. But Akshar Patel, as I said earlier, 47 or 31. He hit 4 6s, striking at 151 before he was run out. But his contribution as well was critical.
Mate, sorry, can I talk about Akshar?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No.
I am. Look, he doesn't get it done with the ball today, right? But,
comes in batting at 5 today.
Yeah,
6.
I'm in 5. I think it's 3 for
5. He is 5. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
3 for 34. Yeah. I'm endlessly impressed with this guy who doesn't usually get the flowers of his teammates. He's had a few injuries over the last few years. I don't know whether you can say this about many other cricketers in the world, where Akshar is a guy who can destroy an opposition with the ball in a test match that goes for 5 days, bowling expert spin. And in a T20 World Cup final, he can be promoted with no notice, as he says at the end of the game, to come in at number 5 when his team's under pressure and thrash, 47 runs to put them back in the contest. The versatility of that is probably unrivaled in the world. And I know he doesn't get it done with the ball today, but what a cricketer. You can bat 5 and make 47 in a World Cup final and also spin teams out in test matches. It's I don't know who else can do that.
I don't know someone else in the world. Also, his glasses are a bit small.
It's
a little bit big for his small head.
Yeah, indeed. But that was the same they said about Gandhi as well.
That's what they did say that, didn't they? They said a lot of things about him, to be fair.
Yes.
All right, let's get into South Africa's innings. Let's have a look at the South African batting card here, please, Charlie. Top of the class, and I've titled this because, that's clever. So Quinton de Kock was batting nicely, 39 of 31, set up in a little bit of a trap there from Arshdeep Singh. He swung a ball down the fine leg for 4. The ball before then was caught in exactly the same shot, the following ball by Surya Kumar Yadav. Tristan Stubbs was batting nicely as well, then shuffled right across his stumps and was bowled from a full toss, unfortunately, for his sake, for 31 of 21. Heinrich Klaasen plays one of the innings of the tournament. He was so close to, as Pezza just said, a history-making knock, 52 of 27. David Miller couldn't quite get going as what Klaasen and Stubbs had, but 21 of 17. He was right there at the end and had a chance to win it, but it didn't work out that way. Let's have a look at the bowling figures for India because they're quite interesting, really. Arshdeep Singh bowls one of the best 19th overs in World Cup history. He finished with a 2 for 20. Of course, Jasprit Bumrah, who is, by the way, player of the series, player of the tournament, 15 wickets. Quite expensive today, going at 4.5. So that's quite disappointing for him. The spin of Axar and Kuldeep, as expensive as we've seen in this World Cup, and of course with Jadeja as well, who hasn't bowled much more than 1 over in the entire tournament. Anyway, Hardik Pandya, 3 for 20, of course, including the clutch 20th over. So let's talk about Klaasen, though. And let's talk about the innings generally, actually. Bumrah bowls Hendricks and turns me into a pigeon and then sort of into a man that's sort of half man, half pigeon with a cough. Like it was sort of a cool, like it was that kind of...
Yeah, a pigeon with emphysema.
It was an unbelievable ball. I mean, every time this guy bowls in white ball cricket, I know there's some discussions about is he the greatest white ball bowler ever, Bumrah? You're going to get some recency bias with it because he's currently playing and he's just doing amazing things and he's just won the World Cup and he's player of the tournament. But, it's pretty tough to say who's better. It's just unbelievable what he's turning out at the moment.
I'm too old to use this term, and I also have a few issues with it, but it's what I keep coming back with anyway. Like he's a cheat code. Like I'm too old to say that, and also it's not the right sort of adjective, for him. But
he's a mystery seamer, as we've described on this show.
But you lock him in for like 18 runs max.
Yeah.
In a T20 game, and it's such clockwork and such consistency that it actually loses its meaning. That he's too skilled and too excellent all the time. I mean, I think he's player of the match in this game, but you actually want to. I know Kohli's player of the match officially, but like you want to focus on Hadrik and Arshdeep for the extent to which they stepped up, to deliver what they did, but you don't do it for Bumrah because he does it all the time. But this is just. It is just excellence at all times. I don't know what else there is to say. And then the ball that gets Reza Hendricks, it's one of the greatest deliveries of all time. Yeah, it's unplayable.
Yeah, and the ball to get Marco Jansen as well, not bad either, I would say. If we can just talk about Heinrich Klaasen, let's give some love to our South African fans. I mean, the guy hits 5 sixes, 2 fours. He strikes at 192 in the match itself, 52 off 27 balls. He has every right to win the game for his side. Coming in when he did, he puts on 30 with Quinton de Kock. He puts on just under 50. With David Miller, and he gets them right towards the end. It's a phenomenal innings. You know what? I'm going to get to What Now, Get Now, brought to you by friends at Big Basket now. All right. 27 off 28. 6 in hand. Oh, man. 27 off 28. Yeah, man. 6 in hand. Klaasen has just hit Axar for back-to-back sixes, then a 4. The second 6 is 103 metres. Ian Bishop's on commentary. He says this, is this the year that the Rainbow Nation finally gets the pot of gold? It's a great call from Bish. It's a great call from a great man.
That wouldn't have even been his gold medal call. No, they got it done.
He had it saved. Up. It was right there. Is this the year that the Rainbow Nation finally gets the pot of gold? India on the brink again of not being able to get the win when it matters. South Africa on the precipice of World Cup glory. Klaasen pushes Bumrah into the offside for 2. He brings up his 50. What happens next can only be described as yet another failure, really, in South African cricket history. 26 off 24 with 6 wickets in hand. Bumrah has 1 over left. South Africa then lose 3 for 10 in 18 balls. Klaasen nicks a wide ball. Janssen is bowled by Busey, to be fair, but he is defending. Miller mistimes a full toss, of course, of Hadrik in the first ball of the last over. Look, I don't think AB de Villiers, not a loser. Alan Donald, Graham Smith, Sean Pollock, Hashim Amla, Jacques Callis, Dale Steyn, Orrin Klaasen, David Miller, Kagiso Rabada. These are some of the finest players to have ever played our great sport. South Africa's contribution to cricket and to this game itself, this World Cup final, is deserving of recognition, if not through silverware, then beyond accolades from just having a couple of good players. Something happens to these guys when the game is on the line and you need to pull yourself to the finish line. South Africa, I think, is still looking for that personality, that big personality that can get them there to make it happen for them. I'm sad for them. I'm sad for our South African friends. India played to the final ball. They believed more. South Africa let India in with a chance to win the game. And India had the quality, they had the belief, and then they had the momentum. South Africa felt like a Bond villain with a chance to kill 007, then wanted to tell their life story, and they got away, and India ended up killing him. South Africa went from Obama at a presidential press dinner to Biden at a debate. How did that happen? 27 off 28, 6 in hand. It was there. It was there for him.
Yeah, I think it was there. I'm not as bullish on like just the big C choke.
It wasn't quite like that, but I mean, you're winning from there, aren't you?
I think you're a good chance to win, and I think that I firstly think that to score 100 runs in the middle overs against Akshar and Kuldeep was one of the great sub performances of the whole tournament. Mm-hmm. Nobody has got close to those guys. And that in itself is, worthy of calling out. Teams that are like failing themselves as chokers as chokers tend to do. You know, if we're talking about that, like they essentially underperform across a whole game, or basically don't live up to what they can do. They don't do that. So South Africa get themselves into an incredible position. I always felt like South Africa were going to need to be perfect with the bat to be able to overcome the Indian side. Mm-hmm. But you're right. People are saying 30 for 30 ESPN documentary, but as you've got it here, 27 from 28.
Yeah. Less catchy.
It doesn't.
With 6 in hand.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as much. I think a run a ball on tiring Caribbean pitches where Bumrah bowls 2 of the 5 overs is no stroll. Agreed. Like when you're 27 from 28 and you need 16 from the final over, something's gone very, very wrong. I think Aiden Markram says other teams are allowed to bowl well. Yep. That's true. Yep. Looking at the over that Arshdeep bowls to Miller, not looking at too many moments where you're like, Miller should have done better with that, or that like Arshdeep bowled well, he's allowed to bowl well. Mm-hmm. But again, even in that matchup, you think that the senior player is Miller and may be able to do more damage than he was able to do. So I'm kind of, because of how well South Africa played across the tournament and in large swathes of this game, and the way that South Africa was able to stay with India when they were just starting to get on a roll with the bat on multiple occasions, whether it was, Maharaj responding to Kohli's 15 off the first over with 2 wickets, and then de Kock's run out of Akshar. Mm-hmm. There's so many moments in the game where South Africa come back into it to suggest that they're doing something special. So I'm just loath to sort of go like they fucked this up, at the end. Like I do think that the bigger story is like how, and I'm going to come to this, but like how Arshdeep and Hadrik bowled in that situation. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean I know South Africa will be sitting there going like, fuck. It was there. It's like it needed one more piece of excellence, and they just couldn't rouse themselves to do it again, against the Indian side. That's how I see it.
How close I think it was for them, which is upsetting. But like the ball that Hadrik gets Henrik Klaasen with, it's wide, it's outside off stump, it's not quite a half volley, but it's full. And there's pace off. It wouldn't have been a wide, but it was right on the edge there. And he nicks it through. Yeah. That ball goes for 6, and it probably is over.
Yes, totally.
That didn't happen. Away. The execution of Hadrik was better than Henrik Klaasen in that moment. But like that's how tantalising. And this just happens so often to South Africa, and these are different players. These players haven't been through. They weren't playing in 1999 when Alan Donald forgot how to run and Lance Klusener, just charged down on him and they would run out and there was a tie, and they, like none of those players were playing that game. Some of them weren't even alive when that happened. There's just something ingrained in it where it's like it's so close again, and I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think it was a choke, but it's like how come it keeps happening over and over again? Let's get into the final thing, and that is Hardik's redemption, Pezza. So let's have a look at some of the headlines from the past month and a half of what Hardik Pandya was going through. Talking about a wretched season for MI. We're talking about unprecedented booing. These are headlines from all over the world as well. Just get going through it, Charlie. Hardik Pandya versus the people. Good stuff. Not quite as catchy as O.J. Simpson versus the people, but mental health issues, more booing stuff. What Hardik had been through over the IPL season. Now, like what happened, and some of that commentary isn't even necessarily wrong, but it was just completely bizarre how people had just completely turned on him. And I found it very confusing why no one booed him in that final over. He is defending 16 off the last over and essentially takes 2 for 9, including nearly winning the game off that first ball by having David Miller caught by Surya Kumar Yadav right on the rope there. Ian Smith on comms again, another great moment for Smithy. It's an excellent over by Arshdeep Singh beforehand. I think he goes for 4, is that right? The 19th over goes for 4.
Yeah. Well, their death overs went for 22 runs. It was 4 for 22 in the death overs.
Yeah, well, that's probably the game.
one boundary.
Right.
The last 5 overs.
Yeah, well,
no sixes.
That is coming up absolutely clutch. There were conversations about Hardik Pandya, should they even take him? I don't think that was really a conversation from the powers that be, but certainly in quite a lot of circles, I think Hardik Pandya shouldn't go to the World Cup. I mean, it's just, it was completely fucking ridiculous for that commentary, and the fact that what he went through in the IPL was indeed just absolutely absurd. Now, It all happened. It all went down that way. But for him to bowl the final over and come up clutch, like he has several times in the tournament for India, I mean, he must be feeling, I'd imagine right now, relief more than anything. And then time will pass and it'll be sheer joy for him.
Can I only imagine like the weight of the pressure of the nation on Hardik, and on his shoulders at that moment. Like, he's usurped Rohit as the MI captain disastrously. Home crowds booing him. The subject of army-led ridicule online. He's not necessarily noted for like particularly miserly bowling in the death overs. He's been a very good death over bowler, but not in the way that Bumrah is or whatever. And when he lines up against Klaasen, who's basically 50 off 20, smoking everyone everywhere, like lesser players would struggle. But Hardik outsmarts Klaasen, slow, wide, gets the nick, gets the wicket, concedes only 4 runs, swings the match, passes the baton back to Bumrah. I mean, that's where the game changes. There
is that moment where Miller is caught down the ground off that last ball, and like I've seen lots of conversation. Well, I've seen some conversation actually about the legitimacy of that catch, but like nothing really in depth. But it does seem like the boundary rope is pushed back from where it was, and then like there wasn't really that investigated if his foot touched the. I don't know. Like I'm surprised that it hasn't been investigated further. But I don't know. Just telling you a thing that happened.
But I mean, like, I think people with greater MCC or ICC playing condition knowledge than us can just work this out if there's something to discuss. It doesn't appear to be as part of discussion.
They hardly looked at it. So
just as a catch in and of itself, it's clutch as. It is one of the great catches in cricket in terms of the way that it's taken, the moment that it's taken in. Where the boundary rope is actually placed is not Sky's concerned at that time.
No.
If there is CCTV footage of someone moving the boundary rope, that's funny because it's over, it's done.
Where
India
was
has
Jay Shah?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a clutch moment. He doesn't take the catch, and that's 6. It's 10 off 5. Miller on strike.
Yeah.
Games back in South Africa's corner. So you got to shout out Sky for that catch for what he did in that situation. And I do think, mate. Like, I wanted to say this. I don't know if it's going to come to this. Like during asktgc, like I just thought that catch, boundary rope stuff aside, or did it flick up or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought that was of a. It was just in keeping with what has made this tournament special for India and what separates their performance of this tournament from Indian teams that we've seen in the past. Because, yes, we talk about South Africa's struggles and their history. India brought struggles and history into this game as well. And the whole cliche of the monkey on the back. Well, the monkey's off the back for India now. And what does this mean? Like, I think it's the squeeze in those death overs deserves to go down in history, and that's a collective effort. That squeeze. That's 4 bowlers. Is that right, or is it 3 bowlers? Sorry, Bumrah, Arshdeep, and Hadrik. Not all of them stars, and great fielding and great catching. So that's all of them. It's not one moment that wins it for India. Now, like Indian cricket, so often lauds heroic individual performances over the cumulative effect of the collective, right? So it's usually batters. Armies can get behind the interests of a player, more than the team itself. The actual number 7 is like contorted and shaped into the realm of the spiritual, like holding more meaning than just where a keeper batted in the order and a number on his bat. But such is the focus on the individual, the hero worship, the emulation of idols. And I think alongside that, India has found themselves coming unstuck in finals in a way that's connected to that, the focus on the individual rather than the team. But in this final and across this World Cup, I think that changes. So this was a victory built on the cumulative contribution of the entire squad. Yes, there are star performances, but look at this final. There's arguably 3 match-winning performances. Akshar Patel with the bat. Sky misses out with the bat. I should say like 3 match-winning performances. Kohli, Bumrah, Hadrik, right? It's not just one thing that stood out. Then there's other contributions. Akshar with the bat. Sky misses out with the bat, stays in the game to take the catch that matters. Arshdeep Singh, the junior most member of that bowling attack, steps up when they need it. Their fielding's on point all tournament. It's the first time I've sensed India were truly a team-first outfit. The results are there to see. Their leading man, Jasprit Bumrah, he embodies that spirit. He's cool. He has life in perspective. He doesn't take curtain calls when he does well. We talk about the power of India's population and when it's all going to come together to create an unstoppable force. I just felt this time, rather than expressing it through the results of a small few, the team has harnessed the contributions of many. When someone couldn't do it, somebody else did. You look at guys that struggled throughout the tournament, stepping up. I mean, we talk about Kohli, player of the match. He's a champion. Shivam Dubé copped shit from everybody all tournament. Huge knock for the team today to get them up to something that Bumrah and the guys could bowl at. So the team was obviously together mentally as well. But nobody drifted off or died out with the team. So I just think, I realise this is a rant, but if you're Indian, the idea that India is no longer a team of champions, but rather a champion team is probably the most exciting element to all of this, and should absolutely be its blueprint and its scaffolding as it proceeds boldly into what I'm calling the Asian Century 2.0.
Well, it was 3.5 years ago where on this channel, it was dubbed the Asian Century. Then nothing happened for a bit, but now the Asian Century 2.0. Here we are. All right, hashtag asktgc. Any order you like, Charlie. Let's go through a couple of commentaries here. Petey, can each of you place a monkey on your back when covering the final? Yep, he said plushies will do. Okay. Place a monkey on the back there. Well, until we get 300,000 subscribers, we'll always have the monkey on the back.
If you want to see the monkey on the back, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've got a monkey on our own backs now.
Until we reach 300,000, right. And then there'll be a new monkey in the back.
And when is the next final as well? Probably in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's already started. So we'd wrap this up.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So we'll be covering the next World Cup. It started now.
Next. All right, boys, I have a confession to make. I unsubscribed after Ahmedabad as I thought I'm never going to follow cricket again in my life. I'm subscribing back. Hashtag AskTGC. Well, if you can follow that example, that'd be highly encouraged. All right, next one, please, Charlie. All right, boys, Jay Shah, if you count the letter in the name, you get to the number 7. the date and time that the final match is scheduled to start is 6/29/24 at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you add 7 to 10:30, you get 17:30, which is 5:30 p.m. in the evening. Now, this is the crazy part. If you subtract 7, which just happens to be the number of wickets India lost in their innings in the semi-final against England and Australia, lost in their loss to India, you get 10:30 a.m. Coincidence? I've had shits that were bigger coincidences than this, gentlemen. I do not take coincidental shits. Well, all of that was absolutely insane and made no sense at all. All right, Pezza. Charlie, last one, please. And that is, don't you follow Indian women cricket at all?
I wanted to see that.
Don't you follow Indian women?
Now, there's a word under that, isn't there? It says cricket. Don't you follow Indian women? Someone is going through our Instagrams, like the proportion of Indian women is just not high enough here.
Not since the restraining order. Yeah. Don't you follow Indian women cricket at all? Yeah, well, of course, they just hit 600 against South Africa, so we now must follow every time someone in India does something good. Yes, we will follow. Please get in your hashtag asktgc in the comments. We'll be back for the main podcast tomorrow to wrap up the entire World Cup, everything going on in world cricket. Pezza, this is actually our last video for our friends at Big Basket Now who have been with us from the start of the IPL. We've done 75 videos thanks to Big Basket Now, so their support has been absolutely critical. We've had a great time being in Dallas and then New York as well, doing our dailies there outside Grand Prairie Stadium and indeed at Nassau County there in New York. They have been wonderful supporters of ours. Please do shout out Big Basket in the comments for supporting TGC. We've had a great run with them, and who knows, maybe they'll deliver for us in 10 minutes or less again.
Should we and just shout to the audience who've backed us through this little phase of covering cricket as well. So it's IPL into the T20 World Cup, 75 videos. I feel like our energy and our production's been better than ever. That's because we get a lot of energy from the audience who backs us up. And should we shout out as well Charlie, who's just sitting behind the camera there as well, who's just been here for every single video, doing every single cutaway, every single graphic, publishing and promoting every video that we put out there as well. So I'm really proud of our run, and it's the audience that makes it happen.
Thank you so much to you guys for supporting us. Whenever you joined the channel, maybe it's your first time here, please do come along with us on this odyssey through figuring out what cricket is and what it all means to us. India have won the World Cup. It's been the first time in a long time, fully deserved. Undefeated World Cup champions, the first team to ever be undefeated. Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli all say goodbye in different formats, or for Rahul Dravid entirely as he steps down from the job. Wonderful legacy to leave. I hope you're having a great time in India. I hope you've woken up extremely hungover, if that's your want, and I know it is your want. You know what? We'll be back on the channel real soon. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the internet so soon. Goodbye.